Hey guys, my name is Dice Rollin'. Today we bring you two tales of terror. Practical jokes have a habit of going awry, but what happens when one causes real, magical mischief to unfold? And a young boy not only gets to take a trip to the legendary town of Sleepy Hollow, he also comes face to face with its most notorious resident. So, without further ado, these are my and Sierra Celine's reviews of The Tale of the Super Specs and The Tale of the Midnight Ride. The story begins with a rather obvious psych-out.
You alright, Gary, okay?
Gary's father owns this magic trick and oddities store that's filled to the brim with bizarre items, including these glasses that are referred to as the Super Specs.
Whoa, yowza!
He's going to grow up to have multiple restraining orders. We switch gears a bit to introduce our main characters, Mary Beth and Weeds.
Smoke weed every day.
Weeds here is a magic and prank fanatic.
The dust of Denderon.
I'm sorry, the dust of dandruff? What? Apparently he's attempting to summon a succubus. Do I need to explain why a child shouldn't be trying to conjure a sex demon? Well, it doesn't really matter as his spell doesn't work. Or does it? Oh my god, it's a descendant of Liberace. Before these two leave the store, the X-ray glasses catch Weed's eye. And so does something else. Oh, so we're gonna use that one again, huh? Okay. 5 minutes in and we've already had 2 boob jokes and 1 fart gag. Mary Beth begrudgingly tries the Super Specs and actually sees a figure standing in the corner. No time to worry about that though, as Weeds has to perform his annual April Fool's pranks at the school, which also means he sees no problem with sprinkling some supposed powdered monkey bones into a fellow classmate's yogurt for a voodoo spell. Mary Beth once again sees the female figure cloaked in black, and bless her for trying to fit in by carrying a book around. Don't want to be standing out too much, you know? Turns out that the mysterious figure is following Mary Beth around, and she's the only one who can see it. Weeds is unfazed and continues to try to work some voodoo shit. After a long day of dealing with her prankster boyfriend and shadow people, Mary Beth returns home to find that no matter what she does, those damn holographic fake glasses keep returning. Not only that, but there's some weird shit going on around her house that can only be seen with the specs. Oh, and oh god, there's random people wearing black spandex in her house. Thoroughly freaked out and now seeing multiple shadow people everywhere, Mary Beth goes back to the magic shop. Sardo explains that the spell that Weeds did earlier was actually for second sight, and these shadow figures she's seeing are in another dimension.
There are beings all around us, all the time, that we can't see because they're in another dimension.
Well, this is certainly ringing a few Lovecraft bells, and none of them sound good.
That's really creepy.
In case you couldn't tell by now, Sardo is full of shit, but he does know the way to reverse this interdimensional shit. The problem is that he needs this special powder, the last of which he sold to Weeds. Whoa.
That's the Denderon, you big ripoff?
I saw my entire YouTube career flash before my eyes. Thankfully, Mary Beth arrives in time to save the dust. So now Sardine here goes full Miss Cleo on their ass. I'm not gonna lie though, it's kind of entertaining.
Send them back. Send them back.
Unfortunately, I think Sardo actually ended up transporting them to the Haunted Mansion. Whoop! Never mind. They essentially get a lecture about fucking around with dimensions and they're sent home. Or are they? Also, Gary's a bit of an asshole.
April Fools.
And thus ends another episode. This one had an interesting concept, that someone could see beings from another dimension that no one else could see by wearing a special pair of glasses. Obviously, it's not a new concept, even back then, but it's still cool to explore it. I think it also plays on the fear that a lot of kids have, which is no one believing you when you're scared to death of something. Plus, it didn't shy away from a sinister twist ending, which is one of the things that I admire about a series like this.
Welcome back, boils and ghouls. I am Sierra Celine. I review horror movies under the YouTube channel by the name, Sierra Celine. Allow me to tell you a tale. A tale of a schoolmaster who was kind of a to be honest. Who thought he could woo the most eligible bachelorette in town, Katrina Van Tassel. There was only one problem by the name of Abraham Brown Bones. And maybe Bones wasn't the smartest of guys. And maybe he had a habit of picking fights in pubs, but he was a really good guy, okay? Anyway, Ichabod Crane and Brom Bones compete for the hand of Katrina Van Tassel. But Ichabod is just such a with all of his posturing and all of his pretentiousness that eventually Brom Bones just has to get back at him. By playing on his fear of a local legend about the ghost of a headless horseman. Bones hunts Ichabod down on the road at night and manages to scare him so bad that nobody ever sees Ichabod Crane again. Presumably, Brom Bones and Katrina Van Tassel get married and live happily ever after. The end. Except that isn't the end. For the record, I had this short story on audiobook when I was a kid, and ever since it's been one of my favorite short stories ever. But I also grew up watching Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow, and that definitely had an effect on the way that I viewed this story. If you haven't seen it, Sleepy Hollow follows Ichabod Crane, a criminologist who is directed towards the town of Sleepy Hollow because there is an actual ghost there who is actually killing people. And there is a lot about this movie that's interesting, even if it is an unfaithful adaptation. Specifically, I'm referring to the general reshuffling that these characters receive. In the source material, Ichabod is a Brom Bones is dumb but likable. Katrina barely exists at all. And the Hessian horseman is nothing more than an urban legend. In Sleepy Hollow, Ichabod is a little socially inept, but you know, his mom was a witch and his dad cruelly executed her for it, so you know, it's fine. He can be a if he's tortured, right? Brom Bones barely exists at all. Katrina has been upgraded to the role of a romantic lead, and she is thirsting over young Johnny Depp through this whole movie. Well, the Hessian horseman has not only become a legit ghost, he's freaking terrifying, with his corpse tree and his shaved teeth and his habit of communicating exclusively in screams. I always did wonder what was up with this kiss too, like did he bite her tongue or... Now, keep in mind, I'm still young enough that I can accurately describe myself as a baby, but doing so is extremely annoying, so I won't. And everyone who I've talked to about this movie has known it as the most important adaptation of Washington Irving's story. That or the Disney animated thing that honestly is a much more accurate adaptation. It's just that it's starting to age itself out of public consciousness, like a lot of old Disney animations already have.
I'm willing to do anything you say.
But my point is, maybe because of the Tim Burton movie, or maybe because of something that happened long ago, I don't know. There are two versions of the Headless Horseman story. One where Ichabod is a dick and one where he isn't. And I think that a lot of people would accept it if I just said right now, well, clearly the version where Ichabod is a dick is the superior version just because it's the original. But let's take a look at why Ichabod came from being this guy who just received karmic retribution to literally the unlikely hero of the story. But in order to do that, I have another adaptation to discuss with you today. Season 3, Episode 1 of the horror anthology show Are You Afraid of the Dark? Titled The Tale of the Midnight Ride. The episode follows this one nerdy kid named Ian. He's the new kid in town and he really doesn't fit in. But there's this one girl who's actually nice to him. And of course he develops a crush on her. There's just one problem. Her ex is a big bully who doesn't like to see another guy get close to his girl. Do you see where I'm going with this? Bully Kid decides to prank Ian by asking him to collect this pumpkin from the very same woods where the whole headless horseman thing happened. And I do have to say, pumpkin jump scares are the best jump scares. He's just sitting there like, hey dude. Ian collects the thing and gets attacked by the headless horseman, who just turns out to be the Bully Kid. Upset, Ian and his girlfriend go off in the woods to find their way home. But along the way, they confront the ghost of Ichabod Crane, and they actually help him escape the Headless Horseman. For the record, Ichabod here is definitely characterized as pretentious, but more in the way that American kids media tends to personify British characters. Like, besides being posh, he seems like a cool dude. The episode just sort of ends after they escape the Hessian horseman, and that's that. We as the audience are satisfied with the story being set right. Poor Ichabod is no longer being hunted by that evil horseman, who, I repeat, is definitely a ghost. So, why is there so much dissonance in the way that we tell this story? In my opinion, I think Washington Irving wrote this weird anomaly story where things just sort of happen contrary to the way that we want them to happen. Think about the basics to Ichabod Crane's character, even all the way back to Irvin's story. Ichabod is the schoolmaster. He's an intellectual. He's physically weaker than Brom Bones. He's also new in town, so he doesn't know anybody. Hell, even his posturing can be defended by saying that he's just trying to impress the people in his new community. Irving harshly criticizes Ichabod for all these things, and I can definitely see how some readers might have seen that he went a little too far with it. I know I did, back when I only had the audiobook to work off of. I was 3 years old, wondering what Ichabod had done to deserve such harsh criticism. Brom Bones, on the other hand, is physically stronger than Ichabod. He's dumb, he's popular. He's basically Gaston. Hell, even the Disney cartoon seems to try to characterize Katrina, again, a non-character in the book, as a dumb blonde bimbo to try and explain why she prefers Brom Bones over Ichabod. And that is still the most faithful adaptation of the story. Essentially, this episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark perfectly encapsulates why Irvin's story kinda needed to change. Because the way it was written, we are the bullies being asked to laugh at this scrawny nerd that the town cruelly chased away. For having a crush on a rich girl, I guess. We need Ichabod to be the hero. We need him to get the girl. And we also need Brom Bones to be humiliated by the end of the story, which is the reason why all of these sympathetic adaptations have a real horseman. We aren't satisfied knowing the bully won. We're satisfied knowing that the bully tried to set something up and then an even bigger bully knocked him on his butt for it. So maybe these adaptations aren't accurate, but a story doesn't need to be accurate to be good. And these adaptations are good. I like that Are You Afraid of the Dark saw in Irvin's book a story that needed to be set right, because it kinda did. As much as I love Irvin's story and I grew up with it, at this point in my life, I think I'd rather see a sympathetic adaptation of it, rather than the real thing. Life is hard enough for the Ichabods of the world, so even if it's just once or twice, it is nice to see Brom Bones punished in his place. Once again, I am Sierra Celine of the YouTube channel of the same name. You can follow me there or on Instagram to keep up to date with what I'm doing. Thank you so much for watching, my pets, and I will see you next time. Love you.
So, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like to let everyone involved know. Don't forget to check out Sierra Celine. You can support my channel through my Patreon, where you will also get early access to videos like this. Also, don't forget to share this video to help the channels grow, and subscribe for more videos and even more Are You Afraid of the Dark like this. See you later.